Question number 34 on the reading portion of College Board's Test 4. As used in line 22, low most nearly means. Another vocab question. Identify the word in the passage. Read around it for context. Come up with your own definition to replace that, your own synonym. And only then do you look at the other answer choices, plug it back into the sentence, and see which one maintains the original meaning of the original sentence. Subordinate contracts for society is a contract. So let's read for context. Subordinate contracts for objects of mere occasional interest may be dissolved at pleasure, but, so things that are transient, things that are subordinate, lower, lesser things, of mere occasional interest, they can be dissolved at pleasure, but the state, the relationship between a person and the state, ought not to be considered as nothing better than a partnership agreement in a trade of pepper and coffee, calico or tobacco, or some other such low concern, to be taken up for a little temporary interest. So this relationship between a person and the government should not be thought of as a partnership in pepper or coffee, calico, or other such low, or other such non-important concern, to be taken up for a little temporary interest and to be dissolved by the fancy of the parties. Low is referencing subordinate contracts. It's referring to a little temporary interest. All these things lead us to believe that this low concern is not important. It's a trifle. As used in line 22, low most usually means petty. Yes, petty means that it's not important, that it's small potatoes. It's when you have a petty squabble with someone or a petty fight, it was stupid. When someone's being petty, they're being immature or they're making a big deal out of ultimately nothing. So this is a petty, low concern. It's not worth our effort. I like that. What about weak, B? Or other such weak concern? Is something weak? You could be physically weak. You can't lift things up, or maybe you don't have food. Is this a weak concern? You might think of something as being that's low and unimportant as being oh man, that's weak, and you use the slang. But in this case, I think it has a very physical connotation with B. When we just want to talk about that it's not important, that not important doesn't mean weak. Inadequate. Such inadequate concern. Inadequate means that it's lacking something. Inadequate means that there's something that is not making it adequate or whole. So is this some other such inadequate concern? Is it inadequate? Is it not good enough? I think that's a weird definition that we're now adding, that not only is it maybe of this inadequate lower status, but also it's lacking something that could make it whole. And I'm not liking that aspect of it being inadequate. Depleted. Or other such depleted is, you can have an oil well that was depleted. All the oil was drained out. You might have a car's, gas tank is depleted. You might have your bank account is depleted. Things are being drawn out of it. So other such depleted concern, nothing is being, this is not a depleted concern. It's not like it's slowly seeping out or that we no longer have anything. I think of that being very physical. I actually think that B, C, and D, for that matter, are all very physical words. Weak, inadequate means that it's lacking something, like there's something that could be used to make it better. And depleted, again, another very physical word. And what's the only word petty here that's used to describe a situation or actions of people? Not necessarily something that's physical, but something that describes the situation for it being low or subordinate or lacking in a way the seriousness of what the contract desires. So when we think of it that way, such a low concern, such non-important, trivial, petty concern, we converge on the answer for 34 to be A.